It's Ruperto Miki again, and we've got another great lecture on Survivin. And how we got to Survivin is a little bit interesting. A patient presented to my office with a history of a glioblastoma on her left side of her brain, which led her to have symptoms in the right hand. And her presenting symptoms were actually right hand problems. She ended up getting surgery for the hand, but then the problems continued to get worse, and so finally she was diagnosed with a glioblastoma of the left side of the brain. And she then underwent treatment to remove the glioblastoma and had radiation treatment, and subsequently volunteered to participate in a clinical trial, a phase 2 clinical trial, looking at a vaccine to prevent the recurrence of her glioblastoma. She's uncertain whether she is receiving the treatment or the placebo, but she has basically been glioblastoma free for 2 years. And she didn't know the name of the company that she was participating with, but after a short Google search, I was able to find out that it was most likely Mimivax, because they have a vaccine to prevent glioblastoma, and some of the trials were being performed here in Miami. So I did a deep dive, and it looks like Mimivax has a vaccine which is targeting Survivin. And so Survivin is baculoviral IAP repeat containing 5, or BRC5. It regulates cell cycle and apoptosis, and has very limited expression in cells of adult humans, and it is overexpressed in certain cancers. So overexpression of Survivin is seen in glioblastoma, which is the case of this patient, and it's also seen in breast cancer, melanoma, squamous cell carcinoma, ovarian cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, thyroid cancer, hematological cancers, and gastric cancers. The overexpression in cancer cells, though, will lead to parts of the protein being overexpressed on the surface of the cancer cells. So this is why it could potentially be a target for cancer treatment using a vaccine. So some patients actually develop natural antibodies to Survivin, and so this immune system modulation was felt to be a good way to target Survivin. It's being targeted in other ways as well, but specifically for Mimivax, they are targeting it using a vaccine. In the cytoplasm, Survivin inhibits apoptosis. In the nucleus, it regulates cell cycle, and in normal cells, as seen on the left here, Survivin basically is seen in many parts of the cell cycle phases, but in cancer cells, it's pretty much only seen in this G2 to M phase transition. So Survivin plays a critical role in apoptosis and cell cycle regulation. And Mimivax basically has already completed a phase 1 trial, which the study has been published, and they've already completed enrollment for their phase 2 trial. And the name of the drug that they're using is SurVaxM, and they had 9 patients in their phase 1 trial, and 8 of the 9 patients received the full dose, which was 4 doses, and 3 of them received actually at least one booster. There were no serious adverse events in the trial, and 7 of the 9 patients lived more than 1 year. The median survival rate was 21 months, and this is very good compared to the historic median survival for recurrent cancers at 6.5 months. And as we alluded previously, there was one patient who had actually antibodies pre-vaccine against Survivin. So if you look at the table on the right, you can see the overall survival rate is here in the red, and then the progression-free survival rate was in this blue. And you can see that eventually the patients do succumb to the disease, but they did many of them lived for more than 1 year. So overall, the trial was successful because they did not have any adverse events, and they were able to move on to phase 2 trial. And the phase 2 trial has completed enrollment. The results are still not available yet, though. So Mimivax is the company. They are making SurVaxM, which is the vaccine that's in phase 2. There are other companies. Cothera Bioscience is one that is also looking at targeting the Survivin protein. And So if you want to read more about this, here are some references. The first reference has a review article on Survivin, and the second link is for the phase 1 trial for the Mimivax drug. In any case, hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something. Maybe it'll pique your interest into reading about Survivin. I think there's probably one of those proteins that we're going to see many drugs addressing it or attacking it in the future, but you never know. But still, it's a neat pathway and something that I didn't know anything about until this very interesting patient came by my way.